Hi everyone, and welcome to Screams After Midnight, the horror movie podcast from the Mild Fuzz Podcast Network.
School is in session, as always. Please turn in your protractors and we'll get started. I don't know what school's like. It's been like at least 10 years since I've been there.
Yeah, so we talk about horror movies, now that you got that from that lovely introduction. But we talk about horror movies from the past. And the present.
Got it. Yeah. We're so in sync.
It's also about motorbikes outside of Tim's house.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I live right next to a motorcycle factory, so...
That's okay. That's okay.
I guess it's not a factory. I guess they just sell them, but...
Yeah, it's a dealership.
Whatever. Yeah, that too.
They're not a factory. They're not next door clanking, metal together and...
Although I do have, if we want to go on a tangent, I do have a motorcycle story that was somewhat scary. Over the weekend, me, my brother, and Mario were in San Francisco, and when we were driving back, there's something going on with this bike gang that was driving in this intersection that we are trying to get through, and we were stopped at the light and we couldn't go forward because this bike gang was driving in the intersection, and there were these cops that were they were on foot and they were just walking after him, and the motorcycles kept driving off, and they kept yelling stuff at the cops, and I couldn't understand what they were saying, and everyone on the street had their cell phones out and they're like, yeah, you tell them, you get them, and I don't know, it was very weird.
My God, we'll actually get to the film at some point in this episode. So this week we're covering another film that's recent from this year. Came out in February, I believe, although now it's had a home release. And that is The Other Side of the Door.
Now this is our second in our series of 2016 films where a white woman travels to an exotic land to save a loved one from ghosts.
That wasn't really the plot of The Boy now, Tim.
I know. No, I wasn't talking about the boy. I was talking about the forest.
Ah, yeah. Fair point. Yeah, fair point. Okay. Yeah. I got you.
And of course they're not that similar, but just for humor, folks. It's for humor.
Yeah, there is some similarities. I will agree that there is some parallels which you could draw. But yeah, it's called The Other Side of the Door. It's written and directed by Johannes Roberts, although he co-wrote it with Ernest Riera. And
that classic pair.
Yeah, that classic pair. Now, last week I made a point of saying we'd had a string of about 6 movies in a row that were all pretty good from this year, or late last year, right?
Yeah.
Had a pretty good string of movies, and The Boy came in and crushed that. I'm sorry to say, I think
some would disagree with that notion, but
yeah, well, those would be wrong.
No.
However, I'm sorry to say that I think we are now in the second part of a streak of shit, because The Other Side of the Door was abysmally bad.
Yeah, I kept waiting for the other side. Well, I was gonna say I just wanted the other side just to be the credits and just to have this fucking thing end. It was awful.
Yeah, so what we've been doing recently is we'll start spoiler free and we'll get to spoilers after a little bit, and we'll give you a warning before we get to spoilers. Although this is a case like last week from me where I'm going to just tell you, you know what? You shouldn't care. The movie's terrible. Just stick around and hear the spoilers. But we'll start spoiler free in case you actually do care and you want to go watch the movie for yourself after you've heard the praise that we're going to throw at it. Right, so this stars Sarah Wayne Callies from The Walking Dead and Prison Break. And
2 Walking Dead alums in a row for us.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, because we had Laura Cohen last week. That's so weird. And Jeremy Sisto's in it, who I know mainly from Suburgatory, which was a sitcom for a few years there. No, you don't. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I wasn't familiar.
But although his daughter in that show was played by Jane Levi, who was in the awesome Evil Dead reboot, so
Oh, nice.
She made out much better than her dad from that show. So yeah, they play a couple who moved to India because something to do with his job and looking at antiques or whatever, and they moved to India. They have 2 kids, and their son tragically dies in a car accident, and Sarah Wayne Callies' character becomes a complete selfish bitch in the wake of his death. And now, if that sounds harsh, let me explain why I say that. So, her child has died. Fair play. That would mess with anyone's head, right? It would.
Yeah.
But she has
That'd be horrible.
She
Yeah.
has a second child. She's a little girl who is probably terrified, confused, doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And yet somehow Sarah Wayne Callies' character is quite happy to attempt suicide. You know,
Yeah.
fuck her husband, fuck the other kid, the daughter. I mean, she doesn't need you.
Yeah.
Selfish.
No, that was awful.
Yeah, that was awful. This is all early setup, by the way. I'm not getting into meaty spoilers here yet. So that's the setup of the movie. Well, the real setup is that the Indian housekeeper tells her of a mysterious temple with a door in another part of the country which she can communicate with the dead. But she tells her the one thing she cannot do once she communicates with the dead is open the door. And what does the dumb bitch do? The one thing that she's not meant to do, she opens the door.
Well, I mean, it's so stupid, like, because who in their right mind would tell someone to go do that anyway?
Oh yeah, no, I agree. I actually think the first line of stupidity here is the Indian lady who's like, oh, you can go and talk to your son, but you can't open the door, right? And she knows fine well what's going to happen if she opens that door, because she later on when everything's going down, she's like, oh my god, you open the door. It's like, if you knew it was this risk, why wouldn't you at least go with her and supervise her, or
like,
don't tell her.
Like like what I was like thinking of is like if you had like someone who, you know, like was trying to lose weight and they were going on a diet and they're just miserable because, you know, they missed like eating like all the foods and stuff they used to like, and you know, you wouldn't go to them and be like, hey, you know what, I think you need, you know, some closure, so I'm gonna take this like plate of pizza and put it on this other side of the door. If you want to kind of smell it, maybe talk to it a little bit, you know, go ahead. But just don't, whatever you do, don't open the door and eat it. Like, no, of course they would, like, open it and eat it. Like, that's, like, I feel like you're taunting them. Like, you're practically saying, like, yeah, you're gonna open the door. I know you're gonna open the door.
It's like putting a bottle of gin in front of an alcoholic who's like recovering. You know, that it's just that is like, you can have a smell, but you can't drink it. Whatever you do, you cannot take a drink. Of course they're going to take a drink.
Yeah, like no one is that.
What's up, Tim?
Sorry, my cat's underneath me. She's like,
it's usually my cats that are disrupting the show. I'm happy that your cat's causing trouble there. Oh dear.
Just trying to sabotage it.
So yeah, she opens the door, and of course, you know, the son kind of appears back, kind of ghostly, but wrong and evil, and there's something else from the underworld coming for him, and that's the setup. I mean, it turns into a cliche fest of a horror movie where there's no tone, and some of the weirdest and shittiest edits that I have ever seen in a horror movie.
Yeah.
So that's the movie. That's what the movie is.
Yeah.
Oh dear, it's I don't know. Like I said, I think the edits are really weird. There's a lot of really weird close-ups. I can't really get specific about moments, but there's a lot of weird where it jumps into a close-up, but the movement doesn't really match what's going on, and it felt really jarring. I
mean, I didn't really notice that specifically, but it's probably because I just don't have as much as like a technical eye, and you know, as you, like, I don't like, I didn't really study film and stuff, so it probably isn't as apparent to me. But like, kind of the sense I got watching it is, I just felt like it's very uninspired. Like there's nothing that was like, you know, like nothing that was interesting about the shots, like nothing that kind of drew me in and made me want to watch it or anything.
Oh yeah, I mean seriously, everything that happens in this movie has been done better in other movies at some point.
Yeah.
And what really occurred to me actually as I was watching it is how much it was basically the same plot as Pet Sematary.
Actually, I thought about that a little bit too. Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's some differences, but it's essentially the same thing. She, you know, instead of burying the body, it's the ashes of the boy, and then he comes back wrong. Instead of being like a more zombie creature, he's more of a ghost. But it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same thing. And And don't get me wrong, I wasn't that hot on Pet Sematary. I thought that dated quite a bit, but it was better than this.
Oh, definitely, it's leagues better than
So
this thing.
there's that.
And then the worst part about it, or at least for me, was just honestly, I just thought it was boring. Like
It was, yeah.
like this is a total like check your phone movie, like I was trying really hard to pay attention, but like I couldn't help but be like, maybe I should look at Facebook real quick for a second, or like, maybe I'll tweet something like, yeah, like, and that's like, to me, that's like just like the death knell of a movie is like if I want to do anything else other than watch the movie. That's
I can
pretty
top,
bad side.
I can top that. It took me three sittings to get through this. I watched the first 26 minutes. I couldn't do any more. Then I came back and watched about 40 minutes, and then I came back and watched the final chunk.
So it probably would have been similar for me, but because I was away this weekend, I had to like do it like late last night just to make sure I had it in time for the podcast. But if I actually had time, I probably would have split it up at least 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, it's just a slog to get through. Nothing about it's interesting. The characters aren't relatable. And like a big thing for me is like, so the mother makes this decision to go and do this. Can you hear my cats?
Just a little bit, just that one time.
Because they're really loud to me. I can hear them properly, and it's really getting on my nerves. Anyway, so the mother, so the Indian woman tells Sarah and Callies' character about this door and this temple and how they can go and listen to the dead. She just believes her without a single moment of hesitation. There's not even like this doesn't sound real, this sounds like fantasy. She just, I know, I get that she's grieving and she's kind of fucked up, but you still would be skeptical. You'd ask questions. She doesn't even ask a question, she just quietly listens and then decides to go. And all I could think was, this is one of the big faults of the movie, is this could have been an interesting first act. If they had the first act been, what are all the... Jesus Christ, Timmy, I don't know motorbikes. Right? If the first act had been, like, all the things that happen that eventually make her decide to go on this crazy trip to do this. Because not only does she have to travel to this place, she has to dig up the kid's body.
That was like jarring. That
was like, so weird. Like they have 3 random locals help her dig up the body. Like, are they not asking questions? Do they not think this is weird? Is this normal in India? I don't think it is.
And then like she does that, and she tells like and she just like basically just like leaves her husband. Like I think she just says like, hey, I need a few days to... Yeah,
she basically leaves him a note or a phone message, something like that.
And it's like he just seems like kind of cool with it. Like he doesn't really seem to try to get in contact with her or anything.
Yeah, she just abandons her daughter and her husband.
Yeah, I guess the daughter just chills for a couple of days.
Well, she goes on this insane trip to try and talk to her dead son. Jesus Christ.
I don't know, like the very broad strokes of the plot, I think, could have been interesting. Like, the idea of like a doorway where you can talk to the dead, could be, pretty cool. And then like opening up, having, letting stuff in. Like, I don't know, to me, that kind of appeals to me. That was interesting, but it's just handled so poorly and uninteresting in this movie. It's kind of a shame.
Yeah, I agree. It's pretty dire stuff. Music is dull and just generic. There's lots of really cheap, generic, loud noise jump scares that are just there. It usually involves a tribe-looking guy just sort of standing next to someone. Yeah. Now, I had a question. Is this pre-spoiler territory or post-spoiler territory?
I'll save it for spoilers just in case. I don't think it's really that much of a spoiler, but just to be safe. Yeah. I don't want anyone getting mad that I ruined their experience of watching The Other Side of the Door. Do you know what the real personal attack on me is in this movie? What's that? I wrote a short story in high school called The Other Side of the Door, and it was much goddamn better than this. Admittedly, it wasn't a horror story. It was a bottle piece about 2 characters in a room being nervous about leaving it, and the whole point of the story was to figure out why they were scared of leaving. And it was implied that it was maybe like they were at court because one of them had been convicted for a crime. Right?
Well, not it was any good. I can't even remember. It's been 10 years. Come on, but
Honestly, it sounds better than this. So.
yeah. But the fact that it was the same title as something I made once really annoyed me right from the get go. Like it was a personal hit to my integrity that I just felt in my soul.
Man.
But yeah, cheap jump scares, generic, uninteresting plot, uninteresting characters, nothing interesting with the direction.
If I can give one maybe tiny compliment, and it's not gonna go far, but like I know I thought like sometimes when they showed the ghost, I thought it looked kind of cool, like the one that had like the hands hanging from its eyes.
Oh,
Like
the moon, yeah, the sort of the
yeah, I was like, okay, like this is kind of like a cool design, but again, it's like you know, even if it looks cool, but it's not being used well, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I mean, I actually kind of agree with that. I think the ghost actually has a decent design. Okay, I will agree with that. That is the one positive you can maybe give this movie. That is it. That is the extent of the positives. So
it's
I
like
think
a really tasty chicken nugget just in a big pile of shit. It's like, well, it looks good. I want to eat it though.
I don't think it would even look good if it was covered in shit, Tim. It's not going to look good. That metaphor is flawed. Flawed, I tell you, flawed. But I think we should wrap up the spoiler-free section and get into
the other side of the spoilers.
The other side of the spoilers, yeah. Right, so full spoilers from this point on. You've been warned, but you shouldn't really care because it's terrible. So just stick around. But you've been warned. Okay, so yeah, she just goes with the woman who knows 3 guys that'll help dig up the kid's grave.
Yeah.
Because sure.
So now, can you explain to me who those like
the tribe guys are?
Yeah, because I feel like I don't think the movie was confusing, but I feel like it was so bored that I must have missed like a few things here and there.
I honestly don't think you missed anything, Tim. I think they just like I get what they're implying. They're implying that this is some sort of tribe that guards that door, and because they know it's got out, they're hunting it down.
Okay, so I guess my big thing was if they were real, if they were ghosts, if they were like living or
oh no, I think they're
actual
real
people. Okay,
I got the sense they were real, or at least if they weren't, they may as well be. Like I don't know, but that's the impression I got. But yeah, the movie doesn't really do any sort of job of setting that up or explaining it or anything.
They're just used for like jump scares, basically. Like she turns around and all of a sudden they're there. She sounds like an Indian man. It's so scary.
Yeah, see that one where she's with the daughter on the pier and she's like, "Who's that man, mummy?"
And
she looks up, I was like, "Oh, he's really far away." He's like, "No, not that one, mummy." And then he's like right next to her.
Yeah, it's like you would not like. How could you not notice that?
Yeah, your peripheral vision exists. You would see that.
Like also like, I don't know. I'm sure they're probably some ancient tribe or something, but like they can't be like. I mean, maybe they don't speak English, but maybe they can speak to someone who can. Just be like, "Hey, listen, like, this lady let something out, and we need to find it." Like,
also, would they not try and get some like civvy clothes when they come to the city to try and blend in? But no, they just. I don't know. So she goes to the door. She puts the ashes of the kid in this little altar thing, and she goes outside the door and sits and waits. And the kid eventually comes, and this is, I think, the problem. Even before we get to all the other problems with this movie, is that this part is just goofy. Like, see when the kid starts talking to her, I'm like, there's no way to sell this to me and make it sound creepy or cool, or it just feels really hokey and cheap.
Yeah. The thing is, like, I don't know, like, what did the housekeeper expect their conversation to be like? Because, like, if, like, it'd be one thing if she wanted closure and she goes and speaks to him and he's like, don't worry, mommy, I'm in a good place now, and, like, I'm okay, and, like, we'll be reunited, like, in the future. Or, like, like, he doesn't say that. He's just, like, immediately, like, I'm scared, get me the fuck out of here. So, it's like, of course, what is she gonna do if, like, her son's just like immediately like, open the door, let me out? Like, I don't know like what the housekeeper thought that conversation was going to be like.
I got nothing for you, Tim. I got nothing to explain that. Not one thing.
And then and this was like legit the kid, right? Like it wasn't like some demon or something like
Well,
pretending to be him.
see, at first I thought it might have been like a demon pretending to be him to get out, but then the ending implies that it isn't. The ending implies that the ghost of the kid was really there the whole time, but there was this other ghost that came with him.
Okay.
Because you know the mum sort of like sees them and like let's
So
him possess her so that the
the kid that
kill her instead.
Yeah, so then the kid that was possessing the daughter, that was like the kid.
Well, I don't know, because I suppose he was evil.
Because it just makes it like, you know, all right, like this kid's kind of a dick. Like if this was just like legit him and not a demon or something, he's an asshole.
The moment
he should die.
There was a couple of moments that I was speaking about with really shitty editing, but the one that I remember with the really shitty editing was when the daughter stabs the dad. And
that was so bad. I was like, wait, what?
It just cuts into his face like really close. And when I say cut, I mean as a shot, not the knife. The knife stabs him in the stomach or whatever. And the close up just comes into his face, and it just feels really awkward and weird and poorly shot and edited. Oh, it was so bad.
Well, first they killed the dog, which annoyed, as an animal lover, annoyed me. Especially like feel like there's like no reason to it. Like there wasn't really like any like big weight to it or anything. Nah. And then the dad just kind of sees it. He's like, "Hey, well, like, what the hell's going on?" And then, yeah, she's just like, "Oh, he was misbehaving. You're not gonna misbehave, are you, Daddy?" But then, like, before he even says anything, she just stabs him anyway.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, like, you know, at least let him answer. You know, at least let him like react first before just immediately trying to kill him.
And there's a hell of a lot of waiting before we even get to all this carnage at the end, because a lot of it is just like the ghost of the kid's kind of there, and the mom reads to it, you know, up in his old room. And
I think at one point I checked the time, and it was like 58 minutes had gone by, and I was like, "Are you serious? Like, I feel like nothing has happened." Like 58 minutes, my God. And then there's like half an hour more. I was like, "Fuck."
And then I don't know. And yeah, the ending when he gets killed by the ghost.
Yeah.
Brilliant. We do the whole thing where the mum knows what's going on and it's bad now, and she tries to burn all the kids' stuff, and the dad gets angry and thinks she's crazy and locks her in her room.
Yeah.
And it's one of those frustrating horror things where one character knows this crazy shit's happening, but the other characters won't believe them.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be really tedious because you see it a lot. Now, it can still be done well, and it can still make sense, but like at this point in the movie, like I'm so tuned out at this point, I don't care. Like this is just, you're just delaying the ending.
Yeah. It's funny. There's like so many like cliches in this movie. Like, you know, like the whole idea of like the door is kind of like just this, you know, like a plot device that we've seen in other movies, like, you know, like you said, Pet Sematary and stuff, like a way to try to bring a loved one back. And then you have like the, you know, like father character that's like always away, never sees any of this stuff going on, and then like comes in at the last minute and you know, like gets killed or whatever. And you have the you know, the person whose kid's being possessed, and they're like, you know, like take me instead, and then they go into them and stuff. It just felt like such a like, you know, nothing was original, nothing was done as well as like the other movies it's been.
And after the mum dies as well, it immediately just goes to that really sort of weird coda ending where the dads took her ashes to the thing. And like, and this implies that it is really her though, and it was really the kid before, because she tells him not to open the door.
Oh yeah, good point. Yeah,
because she actively says, "Don't open the door, don't let me out," and he's like, "No, I'm going to open the door." And it's she, and it's like, "Are you fucking shit?" And that's the end of the movie. Then it cuts to the credits, and it's like, so we don't even get. Not that I needed a happy ending. I didn't care what ending we got at this point. I just wanted it to end. But it was just like, this is just a cheap, stupid, everyone's fucked ending.
And how the hell did he know about this place too? Because the housekeeper's dead now.
Yeah, that's true.
I doubt the tribesmen are gonna tell him, unless just like everyone knows about this place, and like, you know, the funeral director or whatever was like, oh, by the way, you know.
If you want one last little you know, bit of phone sex with a wife, you can go down to this door, and, have a
And then
chat.
and so and I guess is this just where everyone goes when they die? Like there's no heaven or hell. There's just like this weird forest where
Nah, I think at one point they say that like because the kid would eventually move on, but because she opened the door, he's now stuck here. Like I think there was some dialogue to that effect. So
so then like the so then the mom's like an even bigger asshole because like she basically fucked her kid and like he would have probably gone to heaven if she hadn't been like selfish and but of course why would the
yeah,
housekeeper mention that, you know?
yeah, and of course it's like I said right in the non spoiler section. I was talking about how selfish she is and how stupid she is.
Yeah.
Like the whole try to commit suicide even though she still has a daughter. Just abandoning them to go and do this without even thinking about whether or not it might be fake, and it just none of the characters' decisions make that much sense.
Yeah.
So, and when character decisions don't make sense, it makes a movie really fucking frustrating to watch.
Yeah.
And this was really frustrating. So, by the way, I got so bored in the middle of this. See when the creepy stuff kind of started happening, and you can
Yeah.
sort of see the housekeeper, the Indian lady, was kind of noticing. I started doing like a really bad Indian accent, as if she was talking to the woman, be like calling her a stupid bitch, and I made this whole like parody scene in my head because
Yeah.
I had to entertain myself. You know, in the middle of the movie. I'm not going to
I
do my fake Indian accent on the podcast. I'm not. I don't want
no,
hate mail. It's fine.
and they, that's another thing about this too and again the kind of the thing that was like you know remind me of, like the forest and everything is like I don't know like does it have to be a white person like if you want to use this culture or this locale or whatever like why not just use like a native someone that's native to that because I don't know it just gives us like extra like I'm not necessarily saying that the movie's racist or anything but it gives us this extra little thing that's like a kind of weird like
Yeah, I
you
wouldn't
know
say it's racist, but it's doing that thing where because it's an American movie, it has to be white American leads that are the
yeah
main characters, and
it just feels like a weird like invasion of their culture or something
yeah,
like
but it didn't even feel like it did. Like when you watch the American version of The Grudge, which was still directed by the Japanese director, you really get this sense of like it's kind of the point is that like Sarah Michelle Gellar's character's American because she feels so isolated because everyone around her speaks a different language, and it's kind of
yeah
part of the theme of the movie.
yeah
Whereas here, like nothing is done with it. This could have easily been more Indian characters as
yeah
the lead characters. Or I mean, if you still wanted to keep it as like outsiders, you could have had I don't know British people. You could have had
yeah
Australians. You could have had, and that's assuming
sure
you want to keep it English speaking people. You could make them French, make them German, whatever.
yeah
But
it's
but
yeah
you know, it's an American movie, and they want their American leads, and it has to be from their point of view. Um, that said, though, I am getting kind of sick of bad movies using other cultures to try and because
yeah
I mean that's what The Forest was. It was like, oh, this is Japanese culture, and
right
our
yeah
American girl's going to go in and get fucked by ghosts.
yeah it's I don't know yeah it just feels odd it really is
Yeah, it's a bad movie. There's really nothing redeeming about it.
no I yeah it's you know it's that worst kind of thing where it's like it's everything that sucks about watching movies it's boring it's not so bad that it's at least like funny or entertaining to make fun of it's just kind of a slog to get through and that yeah really isn't anything I can think of that was enjoyable about it.
So you get the thorough thumbs down from us
Yeah.
on this movie, and with that, I think we should maybe talk about ratings.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, well, what even fucking doors? Yeah, how many doors out of 10 are we giving
Um,
the other side of the door? Tim, hit me.
I'll give it a debate between like a 3.5, but I'll give it a solid 3. The the little bit of points it gets for me is just the you know again a little bit of the ghost design I liked and then the overall idea of it was somewhat interesting to me. So it gives a few points for that, but yeah, I can't give it anything higher.
Fair enough. I am going to give it a 2 out of 10. I would rank this below The Forest. Let that sink in.
Wow.
Um,
I forget what I gave The Forest, but it's either like a 2 or a 3. So I think right around that ballpark.
yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a fairly like mano a mano fight between the two of them.
Yeah.
But
if you really hate yourself or want to punish someone, rent both, give them a, just a god awful double feature.
Oh dear. So yeah, I did not like it. It gets a 2 because a 1 is Birdemic, and at least the technical qualities raise it to a 2 at the very least. And as you say, the one ghost had a kind of okay design. That's it. So it gets a 2 out of 10 from me. Absolutely awful.
Yeah. Garbage.
Dear. That's the other side of the door. Hopefully we have something better to talk about next week, Tim.
Hopefully.
I really hope we do.
Me too.
I don't know if I can take a third bad movie in a row. It's going to hurt my soul.
We should be very careful when picking because we pick it, so
that's true.
Let's try to not hate ourselves this week.
But we like to cover everything that's recent and stay topical for the most part. We like to do classics, but
we are thorough. People can't they can probably ding us on a lot of things, but thoroughness is not one of them.
That is true. Tim.
Yeah.
Where can people find you, should they wish?
I'm on the other side of this door, where you can go talk to me. I was trying to make, fuck it. I was trying to make a joke, but even I lost interest in the joke because it was so close to the movie. I was like, I can't even joke about it. Fuck.
Well, how about this? How about you can say they can find you on the other side of the internet.
There you go. At any social media stuff is at Tim Vargulish, and you can check out comic book stuff at facebook.com/goatmancomics.
And you can find me on the other side of the internet on social media at Wibble89. But that's us, guys. So brings an end to this depressing, boring journey through a movie that was clearly made for February.
Oh yeah.
This has been The Other Side of the Door. On Screams After Midnight. Keep watching scary movies, guys. We'll see you next time. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Goodbye.
See.